Welcome, everyone. I just realized I wasn't live. We are live now with Shelton Banks. Shelton is joining us to kick off our pre-conference sessions today before Diversitech. And you're hearing the voice of Claudia Martel. I'm here in the background helping Shannon Morales. And I think I got cut off there. Hope you can hear me, everyone. Shannon, if you can get started, we don't hear you yet. All right, Shelton, do you see your presentation? There we are, Shelton. Now you're on screen.
About Julio. Can you hear me now? Let's see.
There you go, Shelton.
You can hear me now?
We can hear you.
Awesome. All right. My question to you all, as you're looking at these four pictures, what comes to mind? And again, you couldn't hear me before, just a little bit about me. I'm a lead a nonprofit called Rework Training, focused on helping people get jobs in tech sales. I have a background, a plethora of sales experience, and now I use that sales experience to help people use sales experience at the interview to land jobs. All right. And so, question to you all was, what adjectives, when you see these four pictures, a picture of a coach, a picture of a doctor, a picture of a teacher, a picture of a parent, how would you describe, what adjectives come to your mind? And over the last 7 years, I've gotten a variety of answers. You're probably thinking maybe empathy. You probably see some leadership, some guidance there. You see some personal connection is something people say. And so I'm pretty sure as you look at them, there are plenty of things that may come to your mind if you were to describe these four pictures. And curiosity, drop in the chat, like what came to your mind when you saw these four pictures. All right. Now, with these four pictures in mind, I'm going to show you four more pictures. All right. And hopefully, when you see these pictures, hopefully, what comes to mind, you see people interviewing. But again, the same question, what comes to mind when you see these four pictures? And again, I get a variety of answers whenever I show this. I get, again, empathy. I get people smiling, a personal connection. I get, for the most part, all positive adjectives are how people describe these four pictures. Now, I'm going to show you guys one more picture. And again, in my 7 years of teaching, uh, I usually never get the same adjectives to describe this next picture as people usually do to describe these last 8 pictures. All right. Same question though. When you see this picture, what comes to mind when you see this picture? What adjectives would you use to describe this picture? Now, again, I never get the same adjectives as the last 8. People usually describe this guy as like sleazy. They describe him as a hustler, snake oil, shisty. Like almost every negative adjective comes to mind when people describe this picture. And the reason I do this exercise is because when it comes to interviewing, majority of people in their life, the advice they've been given is that they have to sell themselves at the interview. That you got to go in and you got to sell yourself, right? And it's crazy because, like, to go in and sell yourself, majority of people have a negative perception of sales. And so, like, if you have a negative perception of sales, if you think that most salespeople are sleazy and grimy and just icks, right? And you're going in to sell yourself at the interview, you're going to show up with probably that same type of ickiness. And actually, most people do. And so, to help us reframe how you think of the interview process, first thing we got to do is redefine what sales is. And to do that, I took a definition from a guy named Daniel Pink. He wrote a book called To Sell Is Human. Here's how he defines sales, right? He says sales is time and energy devoted to moving others. This includes persuading, influencing, and convincing others. And the reality is that people spend about 40% of their time selling others in ways that don't involve purchase, right? And so when you think of like if anybody here is a parent, how many times have you had to persuade, influence, negotiate with your child to like eat their vegetables or eat their broccoli, right? Like that was a sales motion. Or if you had to been a coach before, like coaching a team, again, you've had to influence, negotiate, persuade. That was a selling motion, right? And for the most part, when you think about just life in general, whether it's like you're driving and you're convincing somebody to give you the right of way, like there are all these motions that we do on an everyday basis that involve sales. The challenging part is that majority of people, when they think of sales, they think of it from the art standpoint, right? They think you got to be like this charismatic, you got to be able to finesse. They think of the art of sales. And so today, I want to talk a little bit about the science of sales and how you can use it at the interview. Right? That's my goal, to teach you a little bit about the science and help you use it at the interview. All right. To do that, quickly, I'm gonna break down the traditional sales process, what that looks like. And really there's 5 steps to the traditional sales process. Majority of people, they've never heard of the traditional process, but they've probably seen it, right? Here are the 5 steps. Qualify for buyer, qualify the buyer, features and benefits, questions from the buyer, the close, the post-close follow-up, right? 5 steps to the traditional sales process. Now, like, what does this look like in real life? Well, if you've ever gone to like a Best Buy or something and walked into a Best Buy, if somebody was to walk up to you and say like, "Hey, can I help you?" at a Best Buy store, that would be them qualifying you as a buyer. Because if you were to answer like, "Hey, I'm at Best Buy, I'm looking to buy gym shoes and tacos," they'll probably tell you you're at the wrong place. Like, this doesn't make sense for you to be here. So that's literally them qualifying you as a buyer. Step one. So let's say we say we here to buy a TV. Step two, features and benefits, relatively simple. They walk you over to the TV section and they say, like, "Hey, here are all the TVs. Here's a 50-inch TV, a 40-inch TV, a flat screen. Here's one with HDMI." Like they tell you all the features and the benefits of the TV. Step two. Step three, questions from the buyers. After they get done telling you everything that they know about TVs, you then ask them questions like, "Hey, man, does this TV have Hulu Plus and Disney? Does this TV have an auto turn off feature? Is this TV like Energy Star efficient?" You ask them questions as a buyer. Step three. Step four, close. They then take you to the register and they say, "Hey, you can get this TV delivered tomorrow if you put it on a Best Buy credit card. If you give me your email address, I can get this 10% off." You probably also need the insurance and the Apple Care and all these other things you need for the TV. That is them trying to close you. Step four. And then step five, post close follow up. And so, whether you buy the TV or not, this is going to happen. So, if you buy the TV, you will get an email from Best Buy saying, "Welcome to the Best Buy family. We appreciate you. Glad that you're here." If you don't buy the TV, you still get a follow up email. It sounds like, "Hey, you left this item in your cart. We look forward to seeing you back soon on our next sale," something like that, right? That is literally a sales process. And probably the most basic one, the traditional sales process. And for the most part, I'm pretty sure that everybody here has been a part of that process, right? The traditional sales process. And so hopefully if you now understand it, my advice to you is to never use the traditional sales process. And here's why. The traditional sales process starts with qualifying a buyer, starts with, "Can I help you?" And what do you all think 90% of people say when they walk into a store, when someone says, "Can I help you?" What do you think 90% of people say? You say, "No, I'm good. I'm just looking. Pass. Like, I don't want to be bothered." Why they say that is because they don't want to be sold. They know what's going to happen next. They don't want to be got. Like, they don't want to be irritated. Majority of people do research before going to a store anyway, right? And so it's almost like a waste of time. And so we create a barrier to people that try to sell us, right? Make sense? Well, if that does make sense, the reality is that majority of people, when they go do interviews, they use the traditional sales process. Here's what it looks like at an interview. Step one, qualifying the buyer, is you saying like, "Hey, can I speak to the recruiter or hiring manager? Like, I'm looking for somebody to hire me." Step one. Step two, they say, "Hey, tell me about yourself," and you vomit all the features and the benefits like a salesperson. You're like, "I'm a smart person. I got 15 years of experience. I got C plus plus experience. I've done this. I've done that. I'm witty. I can." You just vomit features and benefits about yourself. Step two. Step three, them as the buyer, they ask you questions like, "Have you ever hit a goal? Have you ever tell me about the time you hit a goal? Tell me about the time you failed at something." Step three. Step four, the close. You then start Googling questions and asking them questions like, "Hey, when do I start? Or is there anything that prevents me from getting this job?" You ask them these questions, these closing type questions. Step four. And step five, the post close follow up. And it's funny because the post close follow up, it's like you go home and you hit Chat GPT up and you say, "Hey, Chat GPT, make me a thank you letter." And it sounds probably something like this: "Hello, insert first name. Thank you so much for the time that I spent interviewing at your insert company. I look forward to hearing from you all in the future. And I'm excited to work there. Sincerely, insert your name," right? And usually what they do is send you a post-close follow-up back that says, "Hello, insert your first name. While we thought you did a great interview, unfortunately, we went with a stronger candidate," right? Sales process. And again, like, all because majority of people, they go in selling themselves. And so, I don't got enough time to go into the entirety of what the solution of how to solve this problem. But here, I'll give you guys a little a disclaimer, right? So, to fix this problem, right, companies tech companies have used a modern sales process, and this is what I encourage people to do when it comes to the interview using a modern sales process. What does that look like? Well, if again we think about it like this, if you are the seller, the company is the buyer, at the interview, what are you selling? Right? And again, it's not yourself. That is like the most selfish answer to say, like, I'm selling myself at the interview. Don't sell yourself, right? Because you make it all about you. What you should be selling at the interview is the same thing that all of these tech companies, all of these SaaS companies, same thing that they sell when they are doing a sales cycle. And no, it's not software. No, it's not SaaS. If you go to any last one of these tech companies' websites, they will all say that they sell the exact same thing. What's that thing? They all say that they sell solutions, right? Solutions. And so, like, if you ask any technical seller that when they go into a sales process, it's like they're not selling features and benefits, they're selling solutions. And in order to sell a solution, you got to understand the problem, right? And so, a lot about interviewing is about understanding the problem that not only the company needs to solve, but there's a couple other problems that you need to understand in order to present an effective solution. And so while I love to, break down, what those look like, probably I'm out of time. And so make sure you connect with me on LinkedIn. If you got more questions, happy to connect with you all on LinkedIn. Shelton Banks is where to find me on LinkedIn. Rework Training is a nonprofit organization. If you're looking to get into tech sales and want some help along the way, feel free again to message me on LinkedIn. And hopefully you have an amazing time um, you all have an amazing time, and hopefully you all get this work at this conference. All right.
Thank you, Shelton. Really appreciate your time.
Cool.
Thanks, everyone, for joining and dealing with our technical issues. We'll be starting the next session soon. That will be the pre-conference virtual networking crash course with Desiree Jones. Hold tight.